All right, good morning, everybody. It's Larsen Live. It is December 17th. And yes, Pony Throat is correct. The song is Booty Swing by Parov Stelar. And the reason I chose it is because, well, Asian people don't like that song because it mentions Fu Manchu and, the geisha girls of old Japan. It makes, the chattering class very angry. And speaking of angry Asian whining, Simu Liu was once again running his dick licker about stupid crap, but we'll get to that near the end of the show. Yes, how's everybody doing? We have some, nothing too crazy happened this week. Well, maybe everything's crazy, but nothing earth rending. Well, there were a couple things that were pretty impressive, but yeah, let's just get right to the news then. All right, so in American government news, everybody's favorite cross dressing nuclear engineer, Sam Brinton, has been arrested. He's been arrested for theft after stealing yet another woman's purse and lady paraphernalia. He's going to prison, or at least going to court. And it's kind of funny when they do his mug shot and he's got all his makeup off. He looks disturbingly like a cartoon duck. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but he does. Yes, but what else is going on? The sports ball is going on. Croatia versus Morocco. They're playing for third place in the World Cup. Morocco had a chance of winning for a second there. They got to the semifinals, and this is allegedly a victory for the colonized people or whatever. Just ignore the 7 centuries of colonization Morocco did to Spain and Portugal and all that. But yes, brown people good, white people bad. Therefore, Morocco getting far was a victory for all the colonized people. Yes, I'm sure that Moroccans love being lumped in with the sub-Saharan Africans and all the other colonized people. Never mind that. Okay, C-Punk Messiah says, good morning, dudes. He says he's doing well. He's hopped up on coffee and Pantera. I read that as Panera for a second. Either one would be pretty fitting. I mean, I shove cheap cornbread into my mouth when I need like an early morning lunch. Yeah, I personally wouldn't listen to Pantera like early in the morning, but that's just me. Then again, I'm not crazy about Panera bread either. Yeah, so unfortunately, with regards to the Croatia-Morocco game, we won't be seeing nudes of Ms. Croatia, which she promised if Croatia won. That's very unfortunate. But let's hope they can go for third place. Croatia is winning so far. It's been 8 minutes in. Let us see what they shall do. And I mean, hypothetically, if Morocco got to the finals or not, it doesn't matter because France is in the finals. Neither way, Africa wins. Am I right? Hi-yo. I'm sorry. That was very D-class save me. Yes, the title of the stream is New Jersey Likes Femdom, and we will be discussing that later on. We have to go through the serious news before we get to the title of the stream. The American government continued to be an absolute farce. Besides Sam Brinton stealing yet another woman's purse and getting arrested for it. I don't know why this man was put in charge of the radioactive waste, unless he is in fact some kind of comic book supervillain. He was bitten by a radioactive drag queen or something like that. Anyway, speaking of dumbass government officials named Sam Bankman-Fried, and yes, I'm aware he's technically not a government official at all, as he of FTX cryptocurrency exchange, he's finally going to trial after he announced that he doesn't want to go to court, and for a second there, it almost seemed like he was going to get away with it. Let's investigate this story a little bit. It's also worth pointing out that Mr. Bankman-Fried was, in fact, paying millions of dollars to, drumroll please, The Biden campaign. Yes, he was denied bail, despite the fact that he basically just stomped his foot and said, I don't want to go to jail. But yeah, it turns out he is, in fact, going to jail, or at least until his hearing, which is in February of next year. You know, it almost boggles the mind how, like, billions of dollars are lost just because of a bunch of very, very ugly people were having group sex parties in their Bahamian basement. Oh, I guess every empire that dies always ends up dying with ugly people having group sex parties. Also, are we finally acknowledging now that people who are into like group sex and polyamory are just really, really ugly people? In fact, there was an article the other day. It was like, no, they're not all ugly people. Polyamorous people are not all ugly people. The article was, in fact, written by an ugly polyamorous person. I mean, from what I've seen, poly groups all seem to be basically just like one big fat mother hen of a woman and her 5 chode boyfriends. If somebody can provide me like some example of like good looking people being at the poly, please show me because I can't see it. All right, let's see. Biff Slankovich says Croatia 1, Morocco 0, but then it's tied. Yes, as I've mentioned before on the stream, I don't get the sports channels on my TV. What I get is I get like talking about sports channels, which is I'm sorry, I hate that. Like you cannot possibly imagine how much I hate that. Uh, it's just like I don't care about a bunch of douchebags talking about the sport. Just show me the sport. Okay, Ponythroat says, despite not being black, Morocco chimps out harder than any African country when they lose or win. Yeah, I've never understood the idea of like victory riots. Like I get rioting if you're angry because you lost, but what kind of an idiot riots when you win? Like, yeah, we won. Woo, I'm gonna destroy my own property. Woo! Woo! Carl Winters, servant of Jesus Christ, says, "What's that, Croatia Morocco?" Referring to the sports ball, the soccer, the association football. They're playing for third place, the runner up. That position that America once had back in 1934. We got third place once, and that was the best we've ever done in soccer. C Punk Messiah says, imagine if the Battle of Nations were more popular than football. Imagine like medieval combat way cooler than chasing a ball around. I mean, perhaps. I mean, maybe that Russian M1, like armored medieval MMA league will get more popular. This is why I kind of like the Olympics because I've always found international sports, nation to nation, much more interesting than club sports. And also, I mean, I really could not care less about like club sports, whether it be basketball, soccer, or anything like that. But yeah, I'll watch the World Cup, and watch the Olympics, especially the Olympics, because I'm into like Olympic weightlifting and stuff. Whether it's like pure one-on-one physicality, I find that to be much more interesting than most ball sports. Whether it be like weightlifting or wrestling or boxing, that's like the flower of the nation, like fighting it out mano a mano in a purely primal struggle like that. I find much more inspiring. Carl Winters says, soccer, who cares? Well, I care, sir. As I just said, I don't really care for, club soccer and, again, like the firms and the, punching of, like, Norfers. I don't really care about that. But yes, the international, nation to nation, I do care about. Ponythroat says what I've just said. He confirms what I said. Polyamory is always 5 goblins sharing 200 pounds each of a blue-haired land whale. Yeah, yes, it's the woman is not 200 pounds. She's actually multiple times more than 200 pounds, but she's being shared by 5 ugly men who each get 200 pounds of her. We all know the woman is polyamorous by choice. Yeah. As I said it before and I'll say it again. Given the choice between masturbation and having sex with fatties, honestly, I think there's less shame in masturbation. Yeah, we'll get to the sex talk later. Uh, yeah, but the point is, sorry, the preponderance of these like talking about sports shows really just annoys me. Like, shut up! I don't care about you. Half the time, these people aren't even like ex players. Just show the game. Sorry. Yeah, I've been a little stuffed up for the past couple of days. Like nothing. I feel fine. Just a little snotty. Like I said, much like Film Robert, I do more or less live in a basement, so I feel like the air gets a little clammy sometimes. I apologize, but yeah, Bill Burr and his much more successful podcast, he was also talking about these talking about sports shows. And it's just like you got like 2 hours before he was talking about NFL, but it's the same idea. It's like you just shut up. Why are you spending 2 hours before the game talking about the game? They just in my day, you had 30 minutes pregame and that's it. It's just I don't know. I feel like somebody who would sit there and watch people talking about the game. That really shows that's some low IQ right in there. Then I was browsing around the not sports channels I have on my TV, and they even got it for like UFC. Like pregame banter is stupid enough when it's ball games, but now it's like fighting has pregame banter too. Like what the hell are you gonna talk about that for 2 hours? Yeah, it's like he's gonna hit him with a double leg, and then he's gonna like mount him and punch him in the face. Okay, we're done here. Then you just sit around twiddling your thumbs for 2 hours. Stupid. Yeah, so polyamory. Let's get off the sports now. Let's go to polyamory and Sam Bankman-Fried. It's not a good situation. I mean, totally forgot the woman's name in that FTX debacle. But I mean, the least you can say about her, she's not a giant heifer like every other woman who's into polyamory. So, by the standards of poly couples, she's like a Greek goddess. It's like that bit on Family Guy where Meg works at the TSA, and just by default, she's like the most beautiful woman there. It's like, wow, her neck and her head are two different parts of her body. Look at how her breasts are bigger than her stomach. I didn't know that was possible. Pony Throat referring to talking about sports shows. It's like, I think they might kick the ball at some point. Yes. And, in my very in-depth analysis of this NFL game, I feel like the quarterback might get sacked. Now, if they start putting professional laser tag on TV, God help us all. I think they did actually during every August ESPN does the Ocho, where they show like weirdo sports. I think they might have had laser tag at some point. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm guilty as anybody there because I love the Ocho when they do that every August. Okay, C Punk Messiah says, I guess the poly relationship my parents used to be in was a bit of a rarity because everybody was conventionally attractive. Well, that was probably like what, the 70s? Yeah, I mean, people in general were just more attractive back then. It's really sad whenever I see that thing on Twitter that comes up every now and then. It's like a beach. It's the same beach in America, 1971 versus 2021. 1971, literally everybody is like thin and attractive. And then 2021, everybody's just a giant tub of shit. Not to be outdone by FTX, former President Donald Trump totally embarrassed himself today. His big announcement that he was doing was that he's releasing NFTs. Yes, Trump trading cards, NFTs. And they're like as lame as you can imagine. It's like Donald Trump superhero man, but he's also like a pro wrestling man. Like, this is just embarrassing, Trump. Everyone's like, you got Razor Fist. He's like, oh, well, it's cool because, like, they sold out in 12 hours. It made, 45,000 NFTs, $99 each for a total of 4.45 million. Yeah, I'm sure they sold. I mean, fidget spinners sold back in the day. Doesn't change the fact that this is lame and embarrassing. I mean, meme money is never going to be worth anything. It's literally just, it's literally just a famous person selling stupid shit and making a quick buck. This is embarrassing. Again, I've, begrudgingly acknowledged that Trump is probably, a lesser evil compared to a lot of the people in Washington. Will he run in 2024? Maybe. I mean, this is stupid crap. I mean, this is not Biden good for, Trump's non-consecutive presidential term. Okay. C-Punk Messiah refutes my idea about the 70s. His parents were Gen X. Biff Slankovich says you have to admit soccer on TV has far fewer commercials. Football is commercial between plays. Yes, I agree. Okay. Ponythroat says Trump NFTs. Vote DeSantis 2024. Yeah. Voting is a bit of a farce. I don't know if I might even vote next time. Okay. Carl Winters says SMH. Shake my head. America needs a superhero, he said. I mean, yeah, it does. I don't know if Trump man is the superhero we need. What a joke. It's all a charade. Yeah, I mean, I've realized this long ago, and I'm not the first person to say this, but a lot of politics is just essentially like it's basically professional wrestling for people who think they're intellectuals. And what I mean by that is, professional wrestlers, what do? They go out in the ring, they talk a bunch of shit, they beat each other up in the ring, smash each other with chairs, they're bleeding. Then what happens? They all go backstage and they're all friends and they all go out to the bar and they drink and they run trains on ugly women from what I've heard in interviews. And it's just like politics. Politicians that go out on stage, they talk about how, evil everybody is and, you should be in prison and this and that. But then they all go backstage and they're all buddies and they go to their wine soirees and then they have sex with much more attractive women than the professional wrestlers. If we all just acknowledge that politics in general are just glorified professional wrestling, I think we'll all be better off. Carl Winters says your vote doesn't count. I don't vote. I don't care. It's bread and circuses. Yeah, a little bit. C-Punk Messiah says Razorfist has good taste in music, but I'll never understand his hate boner for 90s Pantera. Yeah, I mean, I like Razorfist, but I don't agree with everything he says. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I know he doesn't like Pantera. I'm not like a super big Pantera fan, but I think they're all right. But yeah, like NFTs they continue to be stupid. They've never not been stupid. They're basically pogs, except they're even worse than pogs because at least pogs you can play with. And I should tell you, my dad's birthday is today, so I'm gonna go visit my folks. And yeah, maybe when I'm there, I'll go look for my old pogs from when I was a little kid. And yeah, by the way, if you haven't checked out that website, Poggressive Ruin, which is a guy going through like boxes and boxes of pogs that he got in a comic book store, like he bought it for like a penny. It's pretty funny. If you want to get a real tight grip on like what 90s America was like, that'll do it. And naturally, people are comparing superhero Trump man to Homelander from The Boys. And speaking of, Anthony Starr was nominated for some award or some such for his role in said show. Yes, I do like The Boys. I'm hoping they make an. I know there's supposed to be a new season at some point. When will that happen? I don't know. Ponythroat says he wants to find an audiobook of Mind Confidence in the annotated censored version. Those have strong Star Wars Special Edition energy. Only losers listen to audiobooks. You can get the original version like pretty much free of charge on the internet. It's public domain now. C Punk Messiah says, I think our politicians need to be decided by punching it out. It would make things a lot better, I think. By the way, what's funny? You should look up. It's a thing that goes around sometimes. It's like a composite of all 50 Democratic senators and all 50 Republican senators. They just kind of used software to kind of composite all their faces together, and it's very, very ugly people. Let me see if I can find that picture. I just saw it the other day. All right, well, I can't find it, but yeah, it's the Democratic composite senator man had like giant horse teeth, and he looked like honestly, he looked kind of like a child molester. And then the Republican just looked like some squinty faced, like high cholesterol evil doer. Yeah, it's not good looking people. Our politicians. Carl Winters says what I also said. And then Ponythroat says he wants an audio version so he can listen to it while marching down the street. Oh, you better be careful with all that edge, sir. Okay, yeah, speaking of, non-fungible tokens and the monopoly money that is our economy, Bank of America literally goes on record saying that they hope American workers get worse conditions. The Bank of America wants people to be poorer and shittier. Let me look up. I wonder what their reasons were for saying this. Yes, a leaked Bank of America memo says we hope conditions for American workers will get worse. The financial behemoth privately fears that regular people have too much leverage. I nervously look at my Bank of America account and realize, this bank doesn't want me. This bank doesn't want me to be successful. Okay, so let me see if I can find the original story for this. All right, let's see. Okay, we hope American workers will lose leverage in the labor market, making predictions for clients about the U.S. economy. Let's see. They want to push up that unemployment rates. Yeah, we hope the ratio of job openings to unemployed is down to the more normal highs of the last business cycle. I mean, you would think that if people were making more money, they would be depositing more money in the bank. Now, I don't know why a bank would want people to be like, pulling out their money and taking away all their finances. Isn't that part of what caused the Great Depression? Well, then again, I guess my inability to understand why they would do this is why I'm a public school teacher. I'm not making millions of dollars in the banking financial sector. Perhaps I'm not intelligent enough to understand why they would want the economy to be worse, because it seems to me that it would be hurting them. But, what do I know? C-Punk Messiah says this is why I'm a mild misanthropist. Yeah, mild. Gotta get those numbers up, son. Gotta get those misanthropy numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, boy. It's almost as if the financial sector really, really hates the average working stiff. And speaking of working stiffs, uh, finally something that I predicted happened. A mass shooting occurred at an Amazon procurement center. Almost. A guy pulled out a gun, but it was stopped by a coworker with a gun who took him out before any casualties occurred, except for the shooter. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, I'm really stunned that there hasn't been, like, just shootings, like, every 5 seconds at the Amazon, places. Because, I briefly worked at Amazon, and it was pretty damn terrible. That's a place where you might be motivated to shoot up the joint, if you were so inclined, which I'm not. I'm a man of peace, of course. Yeah, I'm surprised it took this long. There's a reason why they have metal detectors and the spinny gates at the the Amazon centers. Yeah, so one person is dead, one is wounded after the Amazon place in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, yeah, so guy popped off. He was thankfully stopped. And obviously, since this doesn't fit the narrative, we're going to quietly let this disappear down the memory hole. Just like whatever happens when somebody commits a shooting with something that isn't a scary black rifle, or a non-white person commits a shooting or anything like that. Oh, Amazon sucks, the big one. And yes, I hope that someday I will live to see the Amazon Corporation ground to nothing beneath my boot heels. I will likely not. I will probably die well before the Amazon Corporation does, but here's hoping. Right? And now, speaking of, we've been talking about how terrible this country is, and it is. But yeah, finally some good news happened. Something that reminds me that occasionally this country can impress me still. What happened? Scientists in California might have actually found a way to do feasible nuclear fusion. Or at the very least, they came closer to it than anybody has. Right? Let's look up what that was. I should have a link to it, but I don't. I apologize. Work was, busy. Okay. So basically, big breakthrough in nuclear fusion. It was at the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory in California. So basically, using lasers, they got slightly more energy out of the fusion reaction than they put into it. It was very slight. Slight increase. But, it's a start. And, obviously, you still have to put in a tremendous amount of energy with these lasers. But, I am hopeful that this will, at the very least, go somewhere. At the very least, it will be a stepping stone for greater and greater breakthroughs. So, yes, let me read this article here. Scientists with the Department of Energy have reached a breakthrough in nuclear fusion. They generated more energy from reactions than they used to start the process. Okay, see, achievement came at the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory. Okay, they used the lasers to zap a tiny pellet of hydrogen. The lasers put out 2.05 megajoules of energy, and the pellet released 3.15 megajoules. Of course, like most energy breakthroughs, is this cost effective? Probably not. And of course, they have to move that. They got to move that date of feasible fusion ahead again. Unless there's an even larger breakthrough, fusion is unlikely to play a major role before the 2060s or 70s, says Tony Rollstone of Cambridge University. I think the science is great, says Rollstone, but there are many engineering obstacles that remain. Now, the Biden administration, of course, has sought to bring America's net greenhouse gas emissions to zero by 2050. And I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, let's, I am pleasantly surprised by this. Of course, I am a big booster of the nuclear powers, mainly because I don't want to pay for some Saudi oil sheik to, take shits on Instagram girls anymore. And I'm also not crazy about the wind and solar power because they crap up the environment. Nuclear is the way to go, I think. And again, no one has explained to me why we can't just put solar panels as like roof panels and, use it as a supplementary thing. Just charge batteries with it or some such. What do I know? I'm not a physicist. And speaking of America, this past Friday, I believe, it was the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. If anybody in America actually gives a damn anymore, which, it was December 16th, yesterday. On this day in 1773, the Sons of Liberty dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor to protest the British taxation. Again, I really doubt anybody in America gives a damn. I'm, of course, being hyperbolic. I care, and, a lot of people do care, but I feel like a great majority of people in America really don't give a damn. Because haven't you heard? America's not a country. It's a resource. Everybody can just use it. Everybody can just waltz in. America belongs to everybody. Fuck, that pisses me off. Somebody I saw on Twitter said it best. The main conflict in America today is between people who see America as a place, a culture, a nation, a heritage that they are proud of, and, of all races, and people who see America as a resource that just belongs to everybody. People can just exploit at will. I am one of those people who sees America as a place, an entity. I don't know about other people. Ponythroat says, you mean Biden and his friends at Bank of America want to lower American living standards to zero by 2050? Yes. I mean, they're still pushing the pods. They're still pushing living pods. Like I saw, let me look that up. There's like these giant hamster balls that they're like telling people to live in nowadays. Let me see if I can find that. Okay. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, living pod. It's like a big hamster ball. It literally looks like a giant soccer ball with a window. Okay. It can replace your apartment. Costs only $24,000 and it takes 1 day to install. A UK-based former Rolls-Royce engineer believes he has found the solution to the UK's biggest issues, the dire state of housing in the Queen's country. I mean, I live in a studio apartment. I'm a simple man. I don't need that much to be happy in life. I have my own place to myself. I got a kitchen. I got a toilet. That's all I need. But look, I'm not living in any giant soccer balls, okay? People are comparing these to soccer balls. They're comparing these to the gravity pods from Dragon Ball Z, stuff like that. But the thing is, like in Dragon Ball Z, those gravity pods were just for training. They didn't live in those pods. At least I don't recall. But yeah, like I want to reiterate this to the World Economic Forum. The techno samurai Klaus Schwab. I ain't living in any goddamn pods, okay? No pods. Larsen's not living in any pods. Well, I mean, we don't have to live in pods. I mean, all I have to do is just survive the massive billions man purges that the World Economic Forum is going to implement on us. Everybody's talking a lot about, there's too many people in the world. We got to kill all these people. And, everybody's just ignoring the fact that all the population growth in the coming century is going to be from sub-Saharan Africa, but never mind that. Yeah, by the way, go read my short story Gigs on Terror House Magazine, which is about a future gig economy laborer who works in a pod and eats bugs every day. It's a day in the life of that man, and it's not great. I still don't understand why Klaus Schwab insists on dressing like some kind of weirdo wizard samurai man. And by the way, a German guy being into Japanese warrior ethos really upsets me for reasons that I just can't put my finger on. Okay. Ponythroat says spheres are a stupid shape for a house. Cubes are the only realistic shape for a wagie despair hovel. Yes, round shapes are a bad idea for houses. I mean, you don't have to be Buckminster Fuller to tell you that. I mean, there's like a famous house in New Jersey. It's like a cookie jar house, and it has a really bad ventilation problems. It's kind of famous. It's been in like weird New Jersey and stuff. But yeah, from what I've heard, the people who own the house currently, they say, yeah, like heating and ventilation and leakage is a real bitch. But yeah, I refuse to live in the wagie hovel. I mean, I'm not a wagie. I'm a professional. I'm a teacher. And despite what my dad thinks, I do actually like the job. I've said it before. If it wasn't for the grading, I would actually love the job. The grading is the only bad thing about it. No job is perfect. All right, live with it. Okay. Now we're finally getting to the title of the stream. So NJ is into Femdom. Yes, apparently so. For you see, the website Pornhub does this every year. They release a map of the number one porno searches for each state, all 50 states. And yeah, apparently my state, New Jersey, is into Femdom, which kind of surprised me, to be honest. For those of you who are not aware of what Femdom is, that's, it's like sadomasochism where men, submit to, women smacking them around with the whips and chains and what have you. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I mean, it's not really my thing personally. Uh, Actually, if you want to talk about my experiences with this whole thing, kind of the opposite end of it, my last girlfriend, not the one you've seen in my videos, the most recent one, who I broke up with near the beginning of this year, she was something of a masochist. Like, she wanted me to like smack her around and stuff, which I was not into for several reasons. One is the moral sense. Another one is purely the physical sense. I mean, I'm not going to name names. I'm going to protect the innocent. But I'm like, sweetie, you're like 5 foot nothing and you weigh 100 pounds at that. I will literally put you into the goddamn bedrock if I hit you. So yeah, that was a major reason why we didn't last. She just wanted me to smack her around, and I was not into that. But yeah. Anyway, enough about my sordid personal life. Yeah, let's go over the other. Let's go over the number one porno searches for all states. Let's break out a map of the United States here by state. Let's see. Let's see what we're. Yeah, let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, so let's see. NJ is Femdom. Pennsylvania is they're into the bush, which I don't know what that says about Pennsylvania because, as we all know, Pennsylvania is basically Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and then Arkansas. So I guess those rural yokels like the bush. Okay, let's see. C-Punk Messiah says, hopefully the hard times create the great men who eventually make great times. Well, I sure hope so. Beslankovic says, 2-1 Croatia. Huzzah. Okay, C-Punk Messiah says, would it kill you to call me a cunt now and then when we make love? Well, again, like, I'm fairly, shall we say, athletic when it comes to getting down to business. But I'm not just gonna like haul off and just full like knuckle a woman in the face, and that's what she wanted. Which again, I'm not into hitting women in general. Secondly, again, this woman, I don't even know if she weighed like 100 pounds. She was this tiny, tiny, tiny little woman, and I would literally like if I were to hit her full force, I would literally put her through like 3 walls of her goddamn apartment. She has the audacity to say like, "Oh, but Larsen, you're so strong, but you're so delicate with me." I'm like, you don't want me to hit you, woman. Trust me. Jesus. Women be crazy, yo. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so let's go back to this much more pleasant topic of the number one porn searches. Ponythroat says we all know the most searched term on Pornhub is child. They would not put that on the map. Well, there might be something relative to that on the map. Let's see. Okay, so Maine really likes anime porn. Which, Jesus, I don't know what Stephen King's up to, but they like the hentai. Okay, let's see. Connecticut is into groups. DC is into the BBC, which I guess I'm not entirely surprised by. Our government does really love submitting to black men. Sorry. Okay, Delaware is into the MILFs. Maryland is into ASMR. Not sure who's into audio porn. I guess there's a lot of blind people on on Pornhub. Pony Throat is like, she says, do the Liu Kang fatality, Larsen. Which Liu Kang fatality? Talking about the Mortal Kombat 1 fatality? Because if so, I sure as shit can't do that. I mean, do I look like somebody who can do an aerial cartwheel kick? Or I think it's a butterfly kick, technically. Like, Jesus Christ, I couldn't do that in a million years. I mean, I could potentially do the dragon fatality where it turns to a dragon and just bites the head off. But I'm not into the biting either. So I guess she would want me to do the Mortal Kombat 3 fatality where he drops a Mortal Kombat machine on your head. But I digress. All right, yes, let's move on. Okay, Vermont is into casting, like casting couches, simulation. I see. Okay, New York is into Dominican specifically, like not even Latina or Hispanic, just Dominican specifically, which seems oddly specific. I mean, like, Latina is the number one search in New Mexico, which is pretty understandable, I suppose. Hold on there, Padre. There's a New Mexico. Okay, so let's see. We got Virginia is into smoking, which, I mean, mildly fetishistic, I suppose. West Virginia is into trans. Oh boy. Jesus Christ, West Virginia. Like, what the hell's going on there? Is this what happened to the sons of the gougers? Like, I'm disappointed in you, West Virginia. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Or is it just like everybody's just so miserable and downtrodden in West Virginia that it's like kind of like Hugh Hefner at the end of his life? They have to watch like trans porn just to get to normal. I think that might be it, honestly. Okay, so let's see. Then we go to the deep south. You got a lot of big butts. Louisiana, Mississippi, and the black women, which again is pretty understandable. Mississippi Delta is of course where it's very. I believe the majority is black actually, so that's exactly what I would expect. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's the deep south loves them some big booties, which again, kind of what I would expect. Don't it's maybe a surprise to you, but there's a lot of black people there. Okay, let's see. So then we're gonna leave. Okay. Oh God, there's a state that's number one is furry. Who's into the furries? Oh, for God's sake, Indiana. Yeah, Indiana is into the furries, right above Kentucky, which is into stepmoms. Okay, let's see. Then Wisconsin is into pegging, which again I'm not entirely surprised. It's all those northern, Scandinavians. They're into being submissive little dweebs. Okay, what's Ohio into? PMV. I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. It's porn music videos. Again, I don't know why you want to associate music with your pornographies. Okay. Okay, the Dakotas are into the large buttocks too. Surprised me a bit. Boy, I notice there's a lot of dead silence when I'm talking about this. Okay, let's see. We got the Wyoming is into the big butts too. It's very surprising. Okay, Montana likes leather, which I would have thought would be Wyoming, being cattle country and all. Okay, Idaho is into hentai. Jesus Christ, Idaho. Okay, Jesus, there's two furries. Oregon, Indiana, and Oregon. I'm deeply ashamed of you. Okay, California likes Asian girls, which again, pretty expected. Nevada likes cartoons. Oh my God. Okay, Utah likes Mormon pornography, which I didn't know existed, but again, something I kind of expected. Viva Deseret. Okay, Arizona likes shower scenes. Alaska likes breast expansion. The only goddamn civilized people in this country, apparently. Yeah, it's I'm deeply ashamed of everybody in this country. Well, most people. I take that back. I mean, I guess pornography is something that's shameful, mildly, but I can't really fault too many people's sexual choices. The people who are into the furries and the trans and the pegging, I'm deeply ashamed. In the cartoons, yeah, I'm talking to you, Oklahoma. I'm deeply ashamed of you people. Okay. I mean, for the most part, it's okay. Like, pretty normal stuff. Like, I mean, I've always been a breast man more than a butt man, but I can't fault you if into the big butts. I mean, I do certainly enjoy a nice, well-shaped pair of buttocks, but I'm not going to fault you if you just like large butts. Some of these are oddly specific again. Like Washington State likes fleshlights, which is weird. Yeah, you got oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. See, who's someone likes the goth girls. Colorado. Colorado wins. Who doesn't like a big titty goth girlfriend? Nobody doesn't like that. That's who. Oh, and South Carolina likes gilfs, which I can't say I'm totally against that. Ponythroat says Kentucky is not corn cobs. No, it's not. It's stepmoms, which again I think still fits. Okay, Steampunk Messiah says some of these fetishes are oddly specific. Yes, they are. Ponythroat says, what is Mormon porn? Is that when a guy's being sucked off in a hole via a top hat? I would assume so. Either that or it's like 2-on-1 where like everybody's dressed like it's the 1850s. So yeah, I gotta give props to, most of the Deep South. I mean, it's not my favorite thing, like the large buttocks or black women, but I do partake occasionally. I like Colorado for goth girls. You know, New Mexico Hispanics. That's good. Asian girls are okay. California. Alaska, large bosoms. I like that. But yeah, everybody else I'm deeply ashamed of. That includes my state of New Jersey. Ponythroat says fleshlights ? Yeah, I agree. I don't understand why. Steampunk Messiah says only hire politicians like big butts. I am a connoisseur. I am an hourglass figure appreciator. You can, in fact, have it all. You can have large butts and large breasts. And in fact, we should demand that of our women. So, anyway, yeah, in conclusion, let's never speak of this again. And let's just reiterate that I'm deeply ashamed, in particular, of West Virginia, Indiana, uh, Ohio, what is that, Oregon, Wisconsin, and Idaho, and Maine. And, even a little bit to New Jersey as well. I'm deeply ashamed of all of you people. Okay. Yeah, let's head off this topic. All right. I referred to, now we're going to get to why I played the Parov Stelar song at the beginning. Simu Liu, who is, still the angry Reddit incel that he always has been, he's still trying to act like anybody cares about him because he finagled a role in the Barbie movie, which is coming out. Yeah, because you're clearly the guy that we're watching this for, Simu. Yeah, he has like a brief scene in the movie, and yeah, the trailer came out and it's becoming a meme already, and he's in it briefly, and he made some pissy joke about how it's like, oh, the movies nowadays are all just cookie cutter superhero movies, upside down smiley face. Yeah, because movies based on children's toys are so much better. I'm not an expert in Barbara's escapades, but are there like angry, bitter Chinamen in the Barbie franchise? Like, I don't think so, but I'll have to check on that. And yeah, speaking of that movie, I think we've all kind of confirmed that it's basically just going to be like the Lego movie again. That's assuming that doesn't do like a Morbius sweep and become like a meme movie, which it might not. Who knows? Like memes are a crapshoot. Yeah, but yeah, Simu Liu still very upset about Tarantino saying that he's not a movie star. He's never gonna like get over that apparently. Let's see. Yeah, screw Simu Liu. All right, and finally, uh, the DMT machine elves are racist. Apparently, did you know that? I didn't know that. I've never taken DMT, but yeah, apparently they are racist. So basically, not only is there white privilege in the real world, there's also white privilege in the psychedelic drug world. Okay, Afro magazine says DMT users often come across strange beings called machine elves, dispensing advice and adventure. They were thought to be benevolent entities. We can no longer ignore the black DMT experience. Okay, people say that DMT, psilocybin mushrooms are a quote unquote white drug. Well, I mean, it was synthesized first and purified by a German chemist, so yeah, it kind of is. But yeah, so apparently, when white people take DMT, they find the mechanical elves, as the term being coined by ethnobotanist Terence McKenna. They take you on adventures. They kind of reboot your mental hard drive, so to speak. They bring you on journeys. But that's not what black people get. The universe is so systemically racist. Even like the DMT realm is racist. Basically, black people report that they see visions of like lynchings and racism. The elves rush him, they grab him, they chant the N word and they carry him. They throw him down a black hole, emphasis on black hole, and you fall for hours and hours until your trip ends. Goddamn, those psychedelic mushrooms are so racist. Like, black people can't even escape racism in their hyperspace hallucination fantasies. I'm sorry, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I've never taken psychedelics, but I can't help but feel like psychedelics probably, kind of tap into your sort of like subconscious and your neuroses. So, you know, all these like rich, Ponzi white people taking it, they're probably like happy, well adjusted people. And that's why they go on these magical journeys. They don't have issues. Whereas I feel as if you're a, paranoid, race obsessed, neurotic, those uh, psychedelics, sorry, I'm butchering the English language here, gonna kick in and they're just gonna, kick your neuroses into maximum overdrive. Yeah, I would argue that the machine elves are essentially your subconscious talking to you. And, if you are in sober times obsessed with racism and systematic racism and critical race theory and lynching, you're going to be seeing a lot more of that when you're tripping balls. I think that's much more plausible than the idea that the magical like hyperspace elves are themselves racist. And now I'm imagining, this is really stupid, but thinking of like magical hyperspace elves is making me think of, and that, well, I should say that the comments I've seen for this article are talking about how, maybe like all the mythologies people have had throughout the years have been, you know, results of eating DMT plants. And now I'm thinking about, of all things, Superman the Animated Series, where Mr. Miggs Spitlick was voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. So now I'm imagining 10-hour trips of like elves with the voice of Gilbert Gottfried screaming at the top of their lungs at you. God help us all. Okay, we got some comments here. Ponythroat says, it's a shame not a single state has vor. I mean, people were looking up like hentai and anime and cartoon porn, so maybe they were getting vor in that. We don't know. We don't know. Ponythroat says, fun barbatum fact. The president of Serbia looks like he put Barbie's lips on Ken. I did not know that. Ponythroat says, the pointed hoods cause them to be mistaken for elves. Well, again, like I said, I've never taken DMT or any kind of like psychedelic mushrooms or anything. It's when you have to wake up at 6 in the morning every day for work, doing like psychedelic drugs is not really an option for you. I mean, maybe if I got really rich, I might partake, but probably not. Because I'd honestly be afraid that I would like go chasing after the elves and like run into traffic or something. So yeah, I don't think I would ever do that. But I do find the whole thing interesting. And yeah, Pony. I don't know like what the what they mean when they say mechanical elves. But yes, apparently the entities that people see when they take DMT is they're called mechanical elves. Which, again, to my pop culture addled brain, I'm thinking of, Coily, the spring sprite. No springs. Weep boop. Weep boop. My voice can't get that high. I mean, is that what they mean by mechanical elves? Do they just have like clockwork parts like in their stomachs? Or are they like entirely mechanical? I don't even know what the difference is between DMT and like other psychedelias. Okay, let's see. So DMT is a tryptamine that occurs in plants and animals, and psychedelic drug. Okay, DMT was known as the business trip in the '60s because it was over. It was very intense, relatively quick trip, about half an hour or so. Much less time than LSD or psilocybin mushrooms. Okay, again, I'm not a chemist. Let's see. DMT is produced in many plants. Okay, it's in the ayahuasca. It's a psychoactive alkaloid in Varroa bark, certain kinds of beans. Okay. Is it the same chemical that's in like the psilocybins or what? Let's see, psilocybin. Well, no, psilocybin is the chemical in psilocybin mushrooms. Derp. Yeah, so DMT is found in the plants, like found in the Amazon. It's okay. Mimosa teniflora, Diplopodera. Yeah, bunch of South American plants. Whereas the psilocybin mushrooms you can find in your backyard potentially. I'm just going to slowly glance at my stock portfolio where I've invested heavily in psilocybin mushroom futures. But yeah, anyway, the point is The mechanical elves, I don't know why exactly, what makes them mechanical. Let's check this out. Let's see. Entities proceed during DMT inebriation. Machine elf Terrence McKenna, the ethnobotanist. He went to hyperspace. The fractal elves, self-transforming machine elves. Uh, Machine elf. Okay, there's a book on the whole thing. Let me see if I can find that on my ebook website. Okay, well, yes, I found the book that it refers to: Sex, Drugs, Einstein, and Elves. I obviously I'm not going to read this book in the span of doing the stream, but yeah, I might check this out. I mean, even though I have no interest in actually doing the drugs, I do find it very interesting in the sort of anthropological sense how these things might have inspired religions and things. Perhaps our ancestors were just tripping balls. Okay. See, other researchers describe entities, beings, little peoples, gnomes, elves, imps, fairies, leprechauns, etc., etc. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Ponythroat says DMT is a white drug. People calling it to stick to crack. I've always said that like natural drugs should be legalized because nobody's like committing robberies and murder on like mushrooms or weed. Yeah, I would ban crack and meth and all that stuff. Just I'm stick to the naturals. C Punk Messiah says people obsessed with politics and race are boring people. They sure are. Carl Winter says drugs are bad. They destroy the brain. Well, yeah, I mean, done sparingly. Uh, I don't think they're that bad. Well, I mean, some drugs at least. Some drugs are gonna like fuck you up immediately. Stay off the fentanyl, kids. Ponythroat says the Virgin DMT Enlightenment versus the Jimson weed carving your face off in a dark room. I don't know what Jimson weed is. Okay, the Torah. Yeah, I know what that is. Devil's trumpet. Yeah, that gives you some hallucinations too, but unlike I from what I gather, they're very like kind of dark, frightening hallucinogenics rather than the nice like happy elves taking you on magical adventures. C Punk Messiah says some people believe that the burning bush in the Bible had DMT, which gave Moses his vision. Yes, I believe Joey Jojo Rogan hypothesized that in one of his live streams. He also says mushrooms and LSD can treat depression. Yes, hence why I have invested in the psilocybins, not for my own use, but because I'm hoping that they become commonplace in depression treatments and I can make a crap load of money off this whole sort of affair. I can make a lot of money off depressed, sad people, which is the best way to make money if you think about it. Yeah, I've totally gone through my prepared remarks, so you can keep on talking about the drugs if you want. I'll give you a few minutes to say your last pieces. Well, this is like I said, this wasn't exactly a eventful news week. So yeah, a bunch of mild, what do you call it? Governmental stupidity. Nothing crazy going on internationally. Nothing new anyway. Obviously, the war in Ukraine is still going on. So naturally, I talk a lot about drugs and sex. If I just talked about rock and roll, I'd complete the trifecta. Oh, and just coming up on Twitter now, Gene Simmons says, "Shut up, be respectful, and get your vaccine." You know what's awesome? When rock and rollers are doing what the government tells us to do. That's wonderful. It's really great when like all these iconoclastic boomer celebrities are now just becoming government lapdogs. And also Gen X. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine. Okay, Biff Slankovich says not drink out of open punch bowls. Well, yeah, obviously. Obviously, drug use should be done in a controlled environment with people that you trust. Don't just take drugs with randos that you don't know. Okay. Steampunk Messiah says, if you haven't listened to Bathory, go check it out. I have not, but I do have a very long drive to go to my parents' house after this stream, so I will listen to them on the way. Okay, Carl Winters says that Gene Simmons is a bought and paid for shill. Yeah, just like all the boomer celebrities. Ponythroat says, what about Benadryl overdoses? I've still never, I can't conceive of overdosing on an allergy medication. Yeah, I don't see why these people who take Benadryl and drinking that purple drink. I don't understand why you don't just do mushrooms. I mean, mushrooms are literally free. You just get them in the woods, and you got to know where to look for them. I guarantee you have a much better trip on mushrooms than than Benadryl or a purple drink or even Devil's Trumpets. So yeah. Anyway, the conclusion is the DMT space elves are apparently racist, and that's not good. Somebody's got to blast into hyperspace and lecture those elves on their white privilege or elf privilege. Yeah, so a few years back, and this kind of comes up periodically. Me and my friends, we were joking around about Lord of the Rings, about how again, this is exactly what happened. People are gonna start saying the orcs are the downtrodden minority, and I actually coined the term elf privilege in that conversation, joking about Tolkien's works. But it turns out there's a literally elf privilege. I can make all the jokes I want, but the real world gets stupider and stupider every day. Also, geez, I didn't think I'd be talking this long about psychedelics. I should have opened up with the Doctor Strange soundtrack or something, or some I don't know, King Crimson or something. So yeah, like I said, okay, Ponythroat says, what if you can't tell the difference between the mushrooms that get you high and the mushrooms that make you kill yourself? Well, I mean, I'm not a mycologist by any means. My ex-girlfriend Vita, she is actually a member of the New York State Mycology Society, and she did drag me along a mushroom tour once, which I actually thought was fun. I find it interesting. I just don't have the time to do it, which I say about a lot of things actually. I don't have time to write music. Don't have time to nap my stone tools. Don't have time to study the mushrooms either. But yeah, anyway, even my meager knowledge of mushrooms, I can very clearly tell the difference between psilocybin mushrooms and something like death cap mushrooms. Like the psychedelic mushrooms are brown, and the death cap mushrooms, the amanitas, are white. So in that respect, I can tell the difference. But yeah, don't defer to my knowledge of mushrooms. I'll probably get you killed in some way. I can recognize the psilocybins. I've never seen them in the wild, but I've seen pictures. I can recognize the death caps, which I have seen in the wild. I can also recognize the morels and pseudo-morels, which are, perfectly edible mushrooms. The morels, not the pseudo-morels. which are just good to eat. And also, oh yeah, I also saw chicken of the woods once in Central Park. I didn't eat it though. All right, so yeah, now I'm done with my prepared remarks. If anybody has anything else to say about the mycology or weird porno searches, please say it now. We got a little esoteric today. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be browsing edible mushrooms. Not the psychedelic ones, just plain old edible mushrooms like morels and chicken of the woods. Reading the old Wikipedia page. Okay, doesn't seem like anybody has anything else to say. So, for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. We got a little esoteric today, but I bid you all a good day and enjoy your